Donkey Kong Country 3 is probably the most underrated Donkey Kong Country game up to date. Just look at the games that came out before and after Donkey Kong Country 3. Donkey Kong Country 1 is Donkey Kong Country 1, so you can't beat that. Country 2 sent you to Kremling Isle, where King K. Rool actually lived at the time, and the two Retro Studios games, being Tropical Freeze and Returns, are just overall amazing games from Retro Studios. But don't get me wrong, Country 3 is a great game. It just has a few minor problems to fix, but the other games are just so much better than it. Which leads me to Bonanza in today's topic of the video. I went onto YouTube the other day and saw a video from GameXplain that really intrigued me. And let's just say Bonanza and Country 3 might be more connected than the two stories Diddy and Dixie Kong give you in the racing layer. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about how one rock in Donkey Kong Country 3 connects everything. So to give you some context, let's talk about the Fracktones, the main race in Donkey Kong Bonanza. These little guys are everywhere. They can sell you items, they can give you bananas, and even build cannon barrels if you really want. But that's not the point I'm trying to give here. It's not about the stuff they do, but it's what they look like, and they look like gems or rocks, whatever you want to think they are. But if we look at the hide and seek minigame you can do in a couple layers in this game, you can see that they actually blend in with the rock that they're by sometimes. Which once again leads me back to another thing, being GameXplain's video showing off a rock that was in Donkey Kong Country 3 that looks exactly, and I mean exactly, like a Fracttone, which is what I'm gonna call it. Now, if we compare these two Fracktones, I can easily say they look so identical to each other. It is absolutely insane. Now, if you're wondering what level this is on, it's on Conveyor Rope Clash. Now, again, I don't think Donkey Kong Country 3 is a bad game. I just don't remember all the levels like the back of my hand. See, now you're probably thinking, is there any more Bonanza references in the old Donkey Kong Country games? And yes, I think there is one that we don't know about, or maybe some people have mentioned it, I don't know. But if we look at the logo of Bonanza, you can see on the bottom right and left corners, you can see a blue and pink coloring that I for sure have seen before. These colors are actually spewing out of the volcano in Donkey Kong Country 2's Lost World. Now, could this have been a hint to K. Rool? I actually don't think it's a hint to Bonanza at all, in my opinion. Because these two blue and pink colors are actually the two colors of the girders and the ladders in the original arcade Donkey Kong game, which is probably what they're really referring to. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a great reference to the arcade games, and Ingot Isle has a bunch of arcade references with girders basically making up the whole city. But before we keep going on with this video, I'd like to say that my next sub goal is 10,000 subscribers, and you can help me with that by getting me to 1,500 subscribers. But with that all said, let's get right back into the video. Another thing this Fracttone got me really intrigued about is what other stuff could we find in the Country game since we've already played Bonanza. From the Fracttone that we've seen in Country 3 to the Lost World in Country 2, there is so much more we can find with this game. Like, let's take the mining levels for example. Maybe there's like Fracktones hiding in some of the older games, and maybe we could even reference the newer Retro Studios games. Because Donkey Kong Country Returns literally has a whole world based on mining, and there's crystals literally everywhere, and there is so much potential with that. And heck, I can even guarantee you if we find this stuff, Mario and DK fans will go absolutely insane. But the real reason why I think this Fracttone Easter egg is so important is because of the Mario timeline. Because of the comments Diddy and Dixie make on the racing layer, we know that Donkey Kong Bonanza takes place after the three Country games, that's for sure. But if we go back to this Fracttone rock, which is on the surface, keyword the surface, that means that they have seen the Kong family before, especially Dixie Kong. And they do mention a lot that they know we're surface dwellers. Does that mean that the Fracktones knew knew Donkey Kong was a surface dweller the second he came down here because they've already seen his family before on the surface. But if we move back to the timeline, you're probably thinking, where do the Mario games go and where do the arcade games go in the timeline? I'm pretty sure we all know that the Mario games take place after Bonanza because Pauline mentioned she got kidnapped by a monkey, which used to mean Donkey Kong / Cranky Kong, but could now easily be Void Kong in this situation. And we obviously know she was a child in Bonanza, so that means the Mario games have to take place after Bonanza. I also think the arcade game is pretty easy to place on the timeline because Cranky Kong is in Donkey Kong Country 1 and the arcade game, so we know it has to take place before Country 1. Now, if we stay on the topic of the arcade games, we know that Lady is the girl on top of the tower. But, and this is a big but, Pauline mentions her grandma, which might be the lady on top of the tower, which lines up with Cranky Kong perfectly because he's a grandparent too. And I'm pretty sure Nintendo already announced that Jumpman is Mario's grandpa, so that's all taken care of too. But with that all said, what do you think about the Fracttone in Country 3? Do you think it is a Fracttone? Do you think it's not? Tell me what you think in the comments. I would also like to say that I love timelines in video games, especially the Zelda one. I mean, the Zelda one is absolutely insane. Now, the Mario one is just as or even more insane than the Zelda one. I mean, Pauline is 13 with a modern Donkey Kong. I think we all know why that seems wrong. And when I saw this Easter egg, I'm gonna tell you this one more time. The Fracttone looked exactly the same as the ones in Donkey Kong Bonanza. It blew my mind. But with that all said, once again, thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe, and peace out.